The galaxy had many jokes, but the best joke of all was Earth. Every species in the coalition knew about the small blue planet on the edge of the Orion Arm. They knew about its weak gravity. They knew about its soft creatures. They laughed about it in their bars and meeting halls. The humans were famous, but not in a good way. On the planet Calora, where gravity crushed everything flat, the crystal beings called humans floaters. They imagined humans drifting away like leaves in the wind. On Veth Prime, where the insect people lived under 15 times Earth's pull, mothers told their children scary stories about the weak bone creatures who could die from a simple fall. Imagine living on a world so weak, the Veth would say, that you could jump and not come back down for whole seconds. It was funny to them. Earth was funny. So when humanity finally made contact with the coalition, nobody took them seriously. The diplomats smiled polite smiles. They nodded their heads. They signed the papers that let humans join as provisional members. But behind closed doors, they laughed. "Give them the nursery quarters," they said. "Make sure the gravity is low enough for their little bones." Station Helium-7 floated in the space between 3 major trade routes. It was a place for meetings, for deals, for politics. The station was built strong, designed to hold species from all kinds of worlds. Its gravity was set to 4.2 times Earth standard. This was considered normal. This was considered comfortable. When the human shuttle appeared on the sensors, word spread fast. Everyone wanted to see the joke species in person. Diplomats from 12 different worlds gathered in the main observation deck. They wanted to watch the humans struggle. They wanted to see them crawl. Ambassador Talus stood at the front of the crowd. He was Calori, made of living crystal that had grown for 300 years. He stood 2.5 meters tall and weighed as much as a small vehicle. On his world, he was considered graceful. Here, among the lighter species, he moved carefully so he would not break things. Next to him stood Commander Vrex of the Veth. Her body was covered in hard, plates-like armor. Her 4 arms clicked together with impatience. She had fought in 3 wars and killed many enemies. The thought of humans made her mandibles twitch with amusement. "I heard they need machines just to walk on." "Moons," she said to Talus. "Their muscles cannot handle anything stronger than their birth world." Talus made a sound like grinding stones. It was his way of laughing. "I heard their bones turn to dust if they spend too long in space. Fragile things. My egg clutch could crush one by accident," Rex said. "I almost feel sorry for them." The airlock light turned green. The seal opened with a hiss of pressure. Everyone leaned forward to watch. The first human stepped out. His name was Park Do-Yan. He was 34 years old. Back on Earth, he had worked as a structural engineer, building bridges and towers. Now he was a diplomat, chosen to represent his world because he was calm and smart and did not get angry easily. Stood 182 centimeters tall. He weighed 84 kilograms. By human standards, this was completely normal. He was not a soldier. He was not an athlete. He was just a man. The aliens saw something else. They saw a creature with long limbs that seemed too thin to hold weight. They saw a body that stood straight up on 2 legs, balanced in a way that looked almost impossible. They saw eyes that looked around the room with calm confidence, not fear. This confused them. Where was the struggle? Where was the pain? "Welcome to Helium-7, Callis said. His voice was deep and rumbled through the translation implants everyone wore. "We have prepared special quarters for you. Low gravity. We understand your species has needs." Dawn smiled. It was a polite smile, the kind you give to someone who thinks they are being helpful. "That is very kind," he said. "But I am fine." Behind him, another human stepped through the airlock. Her name was Shin Yuna. She was 28. years old and worked as Do-hyun's assistant. She was smaller than him, 165 centimeters tall and 61 kilograms. She had a round face and bright eyes that noticed everything. She took one step onto the observation deck. The metal beneath her foot groaned. Everyone stopped talking. Everyone stopped moving. The sound of stressed metal was something every spacer knew. It was a bad sound. It meant something was wrong. Yuna took another step. The groan became louder. Quelix, the station's chief engineer, pushed through the crowd. He was Morath, a species with 6 limbs and skin like rough leather. His eyes went wide as he looked at his diagnostic tablet. "This is wrong," he said. "This is very wrong. What is it?" Talis demanded. "The deck plating." Quelix's voice shook. "It is showing stress fractures. But this section is rated for heavy cargo. It should hold 10,000 kilograms without any problem." Everyone looked at Yuna. She weighed 61 kilograms. "Is something wrong?" she asked. She had only taken 3 steps. Do-hyun looked down at his own feet. The deck beneath him had changed shape slightly. It was bent downward, like he was standing on something soft. The metal was strong enough to stop weapons fire. And it was bending under his weight. He began to understand. "This station," he said slowly. "What gravity does it use?" "Standard coalition setting," Talis answered. There was less confidence in his voice now. 4.2 gravities. Much stronger than your weak little world. That is why we prepared the special quarters for you. Do-hyun and Yuna looked at each other. "We are not using the special quarters," Do-hyun said. "We are not wearing the gravity boots either." Yuna added that the room went very quiet. Quelix made a sound like choking. "That is not possible. At 4.2 gravities, your heart should be failing. Your bones should be breaking. You should not be able to stand. You should not be able to breathe." But the humans were standing. The humans were breathing. The humans were fine, and the deck was cracking beneath their feet. The observation deck had never been so quiet. 12 species stood frozen in place. Their translators worked perfectly. They understood every word. But understanding the words and believing them were 2 different things. Quelix ran his diagnostic scan again. Then he ran it a 3rd time. The numbers did not change. The deck plating beneath the 2 humans showed stress patterns that should only appear under heavy machinery. And these were just 2 small creatures from a weak gravity world. "There must be an error," he said. His 6 hands moved across his tablet with growing panic. "The sensors are broken. They must be broken." "Your sensors are fine," Do-hyun said. He spoke calmly, like he was explaining something simple to a child. "The problem is not with your machines. The problem is with your assumptions." Ambassador Talis stepped forward. The deck did not bend under his weight. He was Kalori, made of dense crystal, 4 times heavier than the human. But the deck held firm beneath him. "Explain," he demanded. "How is this possible? Your world has gravity of less than 10 meters per second. You come from weakness. Your bodies should be weak." Do-hyun took a slow breath. He had practiced this moment in his mind many times. He had known this would happen. Every human diplomat had been warned. The galaxy did not understand Earth. The galaxy did not understand humans. "May I walk?" he asked. "I will try to explain." Talis nodded slowly. Do-hyun began to move across the observation deck. With each step, the metal complained. Small creaks and groans followed him like music. The aliens moved out of his way without thinking, like prey animals avoiding a predator. "You are correct," Do-hyun said as he walked. "Earth has weak gravity. Compared to your worlds, our planet pulls very softly. A Kalori on Earth would feel light as a cloud. A Veth would jump and touch the sky." He stopped at the great window that showed the stars outside. He placed his palm flat against the reinforced glass. It was the kind of glass that could stop small weapons. It creaked under his touch. But you made a mistake in your thinking, he continued. You assumed that weak gravity made weak creatures. You thought we adapted to our gravity. You thought we became comfortable with it. He turned to face the crowd. We did not adapt to gravity. We fight it. Every single day. Every single moment. From the first breath we take to the last beat of our hearts. Commander Vrex stepped forward. Her plates clicked with irritation. This makes no sense. On high-gravity worlds, we evolved dense bodies, strong muscles, heavy bones. This is how life works. Strong gravity makes strong creatures. No, Una said. She had been quiet until now, watching and learning. Strong gravity makes compressed creatures. You became small and tight and hard because your world crushed you down. You had no choice. You had to be dense or you would die. She walked toward Vrex. The Veth commander did not step back, but her forearms tensed with uncertainty. Earth did not crush us, Una continued. Earth let us grow tall. It let us grow long limbs and flexible spines. It let us become something your worlds could never create. She held up her arm. To the aliens, it looked thin and fragile. The bones seemed too narrow. The muscles seemed too soft. This arm can throw a stone faster than most of your vehicles can travel, she said. These legs can carry my body for distances that would kill most species. This heart has beaten 3 billion times already and will beat 3 billion more. Quelix found his voice again. But how? How can a creature from weak gravity be strong? Doyun answered him. Because we are not built for gravity. We are built for movement, for action, for endurance. He walked back to the center of the room. The deck protested loudly beneath him. Your species evolved to survive gravity, he said. You became rocks. You became shells. You became things that sit and endure and do not move. But humans evolve differently. We evolved to fight, to run, to hunt, to never stop. He looked at his own hands. They were ordinary human hands. No claws, no armor, no special features. On Earth, our ancestors hunted animals much faster than themselves. They did not catch them with speed. They caught them by following, walking, running, hour after hour, day after day, until the animal collapsed from exhaustion and the human was still standing. The aliens exchanged looks of disbelief. We are not strong because we come from a strong world, Doyun said. We are strong because we come from a world that let us become something else, something the galaxy has never seen. Not survivors of gravity, conquerors of it. Talus was silent for a long moment. His crystal body made small chiming sounds as he processed this information. You are saying, he said slowly, that your weakness is actually strength? I am saying there is no weakness, Dohyun replied. There is only different. You looked at our world and saw low numbers. You did not see what those numbers created. You did not see millions of years of running and fighting and refusing to fall down. He smiled. It was not a threatening smile. It was almost sad. The galaxy measured Earth and thought it understood humans. But you only measured the cage. You did not measure what grew inside it. Commander Vrex made a sharp clicking sound. Words are easy. I want proof. Real proof. Dohyun nodded. Then let us give you a demonstration. The news spread across the station within hours. The humans from the Joke planet were not dying in 4.2 gravities. They were walking around like it was nothing. They were bending metal with their footsteps. They were breaking everything the galaxy thought it knew. And they wanted to show everyone what they could really do. The cargo bay was prepared. Recording drones were activated. 17 star systems would watch live. The galaxy was about to learn that the joke was on them. The cargo bay of Station Helion 7 was the largest open space on the entire station. It was designed to hold massive containers from trading ships. It was designed to survive heavy impacts and rough handling. The floor was made of reinforced metal plates, each one thick enough to stop a laser blast dot today. The cargo bay was empty of cargo. Instead, it was full of aliens. They stood on raised platforms around the edges of the room. Hundreds of them, from dozens of species. Their recording devices floated in the air like metal insects, capturing everything. 17 star systems would see this live. Billions of beings would watch the recording later dot in the center of the cargo bay. Park Doyen stood alone. He wore simple clothes. A gray shirt, dark pants, soft shoes, no armor, no machines, no special equipment of any kind. Medical sensors had been attached to his skin, and his vital signs showed on large screens for everyone to see. Heart rate, 68 beats per minute. Blood pressure, 122/78. Oxygen levels, 98%. A Morath doctor named Celis studied these numbers with wide eyes. "These readings are impossible," she announced. Her voice carried across the bay through speakers. At 4.2 gravities, a creature from Earth should show massive stress. The heart should be struggling. The lungs should be failing. But this human shows numbers that are completely normal for his species. The crowd made sounds of disbelief, clicking and grinding and whistling in 100 different ways. Ambassador Talus raised one crystal arm for silence. "We will now begin the demonstration. Sergeant Korath, please step forward." From the edge of the bay, a Kalori soldier walked toward Dohyun. Sergeant Korath was a member of the elite Heavy World Shock Troops. He was the best of the best, trained since birth for combat. He stood over 2 meters tall and weighed nearly 400 kilograms of solid crystal muscle. On any world in the Coalition, Korath was considered terrifying. Enemies ran from him. Allies respected him. He had killed more beings than he could count. He stopped in front of Dohyun and looked down at the small, soft human. "This is the famous Earth creature," Korath said. His voice was deep as thunder. "It looks like a strong wind would break it." Dohyun said nothing. He just waited. "Human," Korath continued, "we will test your strength. Take this." 2 other Kalori soldiers carried forward a large metal container. It was a standard Coalition cargo crate, the kind used to move supplies between ships. It was designed to be lifted by 2 Kalori working together. The crate weighed 180 kilograms. Korath gestured at it. "Lift this, if you can." Dohyun walked to the crate. He bent down and gripped the handles on each side. His posture was relaxed, almost casual. He lifted the crate. The crowd went silent. He did not struggle. He did not shake. He did not even breathe harder. He simply lifted 180 kilograms like it was nothing and held it at chest height. "On Earth," Dohyun said, his voice calm and steady, "our athletes regularly lift 3 times their own body weight. Some can lift 4 times. Our strongest humans can lift over 500 kilograms from the ground." He set the crate down gently. Even his careful placement left small dents in the reinforced floor. Korath's crystal face showed something it had never shown before: confusion, doubt, maybe even a little fear. "This proves nothing," Commander Vrex called from the platform. "Lifting a box is not the same as real strength. Any machine can lift a box." Dohyun nodded. "You want to see real strength? Let me show you something else." He walked to an open area of the bay floor. He rolled his shoulders and shook out his arms like he was preparing for something. "Humans are not just strong," he said. "We are fast. We are explosive. We can generate power in ways your bodies cannot understand. He crouched down, his legs bent beneath him like springs being compressed. Then he jumped. He rose 2.5 meters into the air, in gravity that was more than 4 times Earth normal. He jumped higher than a Kalori could reach with their arms. He landed with a crash that echoed through the bay. The floor cracked beneath his feet. Actual cracks, spreading out like a spider web in the reinforced metal. The crowd made sounds of shock and fear. Our leg muscles are designed for jumping and running, Doyun explained. He was not even breathing hard. Our tendons store energy like springs. When we release that energy, we can do things that seem impossible to species from heavier worlds. He began to walk around the bay, and every step left small impressions in the floor. But strength and speed are not our greatest weapons, he said. Our greatest weapon is something you cannot measure, something you cannot see on any sensor. He stopped and faced the crowd. Watch my heart rate, he said. Watch my oxygen. Watch everything. Then he began to run. He ran in circles around the cargo bay. Not fast, not slow. Just a steady, constant pace. His feet pounded the floor in a rhythm like a drum. The floor protested with each impact. Got 1 minute past. His heart rate rose to 125 minutes past. His heart rate stayed at 140. 10 minutes passed. His heart rate held at 145. His breathing was deep and regular. The aliens began to understand something terrible. He's not getting tired, Quelix whispered. He's not slowing down. He's not stopping. This is what humans do, Yuna called out from the platform. We do not have the strength to kill with one blow. We do not have the speed to catch prey quickly. So we evolved a different way. We evolved to never stop. Doyen kept running. 15 minutes. 20 minutes. Our ancestors hunted like this, Yuna continued. They would find an animal and follow it. The animal would run. It would escape. It would think it was safe. But then the human would appear again. And again. And again. Hour after hour. Until the animal's heart gave out and it collapsed. 25 minutes. 30 minutes. Doyen finally stopped. He was sweating. His breathing was heavier, but his heart rate was already dropping back toward normal. We call this persistence hunting, he said. We are not the fastest. We are not the strongest. But we are the only species in this galaxy that can run for an entire day and still be ready to fight at the end. He looked at Karth. The massive Kalori soldier stood frozen in place. You measured our gravity and thought you knew us, Doyun said. You were wrong. You did not measure our will. You did not measure our refusal to quit. You did not measure the simple truth that has driven humanity since the beginning of our species. He smiled. We do not stop. Ever, for any reason. We keep going until the job is done or our hearts stop beating. And sometimes, not even then. The cargo bay was silent. The galaxy was watching, and everything they thought they knew about humans had just been destroyed. 3 days had passed since the demonstration. The diplomatic meetings continued, but something had changed. The alien representatives no longer laughed at humans behind closed doors. They no longer made jokes about the weak gravity world. Instead, they watched Doyen and Yuna with careful eyes. They kept their distance. They spoke in quieter voices. Fear had entered the station. A small fear, but real. Doyen did not like this. He had not come here to scare anyone. He had come to build friendships, to create connections between Earth and the galaxy. But now every alien he met looked at him like he might explode at any moment. They will learn, Yuna said during their morning meal. Give them time. Fear fades. Understanding grows. Doyen nodded. He hoped she was right. The alarm began at exactly 0847 station time. It was not a small alarm. It was the kind of alarm that meant something had gone very wrong. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Speakers screamed warnings in a dozen languages. The floor shook with the sound of emergency systems activating. Dalian was on his feet in an instant. What is happening? A Morath crew member ran past their quarters, his 6 limbs moving in a blur of panic. Structural failure. Lower ring. Decompression. Dalian and Yuna ran toward the command center. The hallways were filled with aliens moving in all directions. Some were running toward escape pods. Others were trying to help. Everyone was afraid. The command center was controlled chaos. Qualix stood at the main display, his leather-skinned face twisted with horror. Ambassador Talus was beside him, his crystal body chiming with stress. Screens showed damage reports, pressure readings, temperature warnings. What happened? Do-Hyun demanded as he entered. Qualix turned to face him. Explosion in the lower ring. We do not know the cause yet. 17 compartments have lost atmosphere. Emergency bulkheads have sealed, but his voice broke. But what? 247 people are trapped, Qualix said. The blast doors are jammed. The explosion warped them in their frames. We cannot open them. We cannot get to the survivors. Do-Hyun looked at the screens. Red sections marked the damaged areas. Inside those sections, 247 beings from 6 different species were slowly dying. The temperature was dropping. The oxygen was running out. They had maybe an hour, possibly less. What about rescue teams? Yuna asked. We have tried everything, Talus said. His voice was heavy with despair. Our strongest workers cannot move the doors. Our cutting tools will take 3 hours to get through. We have requested help from nearby ships, but they cannot arrive in time. The screen showed the vital signs of the trapped survivors. Heart rates rising with panic. Oxygen levels dropping with each breath. Children crying for parents. Parents crying for help. Do-Hyun watched the numbers fall. He thought about the demonstration 3 days ago. He thought about lifting the cargo crate. He thought about running for 30 minutes without stopping. The doors, he said. How thick are they? Qualix looked at him with confusion. 12 centimeters of titanium alloy. They are designed to withstand weapons fire from ships. Why do you ask? Can you take me to them? The question hung in the air. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Talus understood first. You cannot be serious. Even our industrial equipment cannot force those doors. They are the strongest barriers on the station. Can you take me to them? Do-Hyun repeated. 20 minutes later, Do-Hyun stood in a corridor outside the damaged section. The blast door in front of him was huge, 3 meters tall and 2 meters wide. It was bent inward by the explosion, its frame twisted and jammed. Through the small window, he could see faces pressed against the glass. Desperate faces. Dying faces. A young Beth child stared at him through the window. Its compound eyes were wide with fear. Yuna's voice came through his earpiece. Do-Hyun, please think about this. The doctors say the stress could kill you. At 4.2 gravities, trying to force 12 centimeters of titanium. I know, he said quietly. Your heart could give out. Your muscles could tear. Your bones could shatter. I know. There was a long pause. Then why? Do-Hyun looked at the child through the window. He thought about what it meant to be human. Not the strength. Not the endurance. Something else. Something deeper. Because they need help, he said. And I can try. He placed his hands against the cold metal of the door. It was smooth and hard and completely unyielding. It was designed to survive anything, but it had never met a human who refused to stop. Do-Hyun closed his eyes. He thought about Earth. He thought about his ancestors running across the plains, chasing prey that should have escaped. He thought about human beings climbing mountains that should have been impossible, swimming oceans that should have drowned them, walking through deserts that should have killed them. He thought about every human who had ever refused to give up, and he pushed. The metal screamed. His feet cracked. The deck beneath him as he braced against the push. His muscles burned with effort. His heart pounded like a war drum. Every part of his body told him to stop, to rest, to give up. He pushed harder. The door moved. 1 centimeter. 2 centimeters. The frame groaned. The metal bent. Welds popped and snapped like gunfire. Yuna's voice was frantic in his ear. Your heart rate is at 186. Your blood pressure is critical. Do-Yun, please. He could not answer. He could not spare the breath. He could only push. The door fought him. 12 centimeters of the strongest metal the coalition could make fought against one human body. It was not a fair fight. It was not even close to fair. But humans had never cared about fair. With a final, terrible effort, Do-Yun tore the door from its frame. The metal shrieked as it came free. He grabbed the edge and hurled it aside with strength he did not know he had. The door crashed through the opposite wall of the corridor and disappeared beyond the opening. 247 aliens stared at the human standing in the breach. He was breathing hard. His hands were bleeding. His body was shaking with exhaustion and pain. But he was standing. The Veth-child was the first to move. It scrambled through the opening on its 4 legs and ran past Do-Yun to safety. Everyone out, Do-Yun said. His voice was rough and broken. Now, move. They moved. Kalori and Veth and Morath and others poured through the opening he had created. They flowed around him like water around a stone. Some of them touched him gently as they passed. Some whispered words of thanks. Many were crying "Duhai" and stood in the breach until the last survivor was through. Then his legs finally gave out and he collapsed, but he was smiling because the job was done. The medical bay of Station Helion 7 was not designed for humans. The beds were too short. The equipment was calibrated for alien bodies. The doctors had to guess at half of what they were doing. But they tried their best, and Do-Yun was alive, so he could not complain too much. He lay on a bed that was 3 sizes too small, his bandaged hands resting on his chest. The skin had been torn from his palms when he gripped the door. Several muscles in his arms and back had been damaged. His heart had experienced what the doctors called extreme stress events. But he was alive, and 247 other beings were alive because of him. The door to the medical bay opened, and Ambassador Talis walked in. The Kalori moved carefully, as he always did, aware of his massive weight in a station not built for his kind. But there was something different in the way he carried himself now. Something humble. May I sit? Talis asked. Do-Yun gestured to a chair beside the bed. It groaned under Talis's weight but held firm. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. They just sat together in the quiet hum of the medical equipment. I owe you an apology, Talis finally said. His voice was soft for a Kalori, almost gentle. When your species first made contact, I was one of the loudest voices calling you weak. I made jokes about Earth. I laughed at your small gravity. I thought I understood your people. He turned his crystal face toward Do-Yun. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. Do-Yun shook his head slowly. You are not completely wrong. Earth's gravity is weak. We are soft compared to you. Our bones break. Our skin tears. We bleed when we should not bleed. He lifted his bandaged hands. Look at me now. I ripped open my own palms just by trying too hard. A Kalori would never have this problem. Your bodies are perfect for what they do. Ours are fragile. This is true. Talis leaned forward. Then how? How did you do what you did? My people's strongest soldiers could not have moved that door. Our best machines would have taken hours. But you, a single human with bleeding hands, tore it from the wall like paper. Da-Hyun thought about the question for a long time. He thought about his ancestors. He thought about millions of years of evolution. He thought about what it really meant to be human. Because we were never designed to be strong, he said at last. We were designed to keep going, to endure, to refuse to stop until the job is done. He looked at his hands again. The blood had soaked through the bandages. Tomorrow, the wounds would hurt terribly. The doctor said it might be weeks before he could use his fingers properly again. This will heal, he said. And when it heals, I will be able to do it again. That is what makes humans different. Not our strength, not our speed, our refusal to stay down. The door opened again, and more visitors entered. Commander Vrex came first, her hard plates clicking softly. Behind her came Quellix and Celis, the doctor, and a dozen other officials from the station. They gathered around Do-Yoon's bed in a half circle, their different bodies making strange shadows on the walls. Vrex stepped forward. The warrior who had once said her children could crush humans by accident now moved with careful respect. The Veth owe you a debt, she said. 17 of my people were behind that door. 3 of them were children. You saved them all. The Marth owe you as well, Quellix added. And the Kalori. And every species that had citizens trapped in that section. You owe me nothing, Do-Hyun said. I did what anyone would do. No, Talus said firmly. You did what no one else could do. What no one else was willing to try. He reached into a fold of his crystalline body and withdrew a small case. Inside was a medallion made of blue metal, shaped like a star with many points. This is the seal of full membership, Talus said. The coalition has existed for 11,000 years. In all that time, we have studied over 800 different species. We thought we understood how life worked. We thought we knew the rules of evolution and strength and survival. He placed the medallion in Do-Hyun's bandaged hand. We never accounted for a species, too. Stubborn to accept rules. Do-Hyun looked at the medallion. It was small and light. Just a piece of metal with pretty shapes. But it represented something much larger. It represented Earth finally being seen, finally being understood. The joke is over, Talus continued. From this day forward, humans are not provisional members of the coalition. You are full partners, equal in every way. Vrax clicked her mandibles in agreement. More than equal. When my generals see the recordings of what you did, they will want to know everything about human soldiers. Everything about human endurance. Everything about what makes your species continue when all logic says you should stop. Do-Hyun smiled weakly. Just show them a human mother protecting her children. That will explain everything. Yuna entered the room then. She had been waiting outside, giving the officials their moment. But now she pushed past them to stand beside her friend. Her eyes were red from crying, but she was smiling. You scared me, she said. You really scared me. I scared myself, Do-Hyun admitted. Outside the medical bay window, the stars of the Orion Arm glittered with infinite possibility. Somewhere out there, Earth was spinning in its weak gravity, holding billions of humans who had no idea what had just happened. They did not know that everything had changed. They did not know that the galaxy would never look at them the same way again. Talus rose from his chair. His crystal body chimed softly as he moved. In our language, he said, we have a saying. It translates roughly as the mountain does not move. It means that some things are certain. Some things cannot change. The strong are strong. The weak are weak. The mountain does not move. He looked down at the small human lying on the too small bed with his bandaged hands and his broken body and his stubborn. undefeated smile. "You have taught us a new saying," Talus said. "The mountain does not move. But humans will move the mountain anyway." Dohan laughed. It hurt his ribs, but he laughed anyway. "We have a saying too," he said. "Fall down 7 times. Stand up 8. Talus nodded slowly. His crystal face could not smile, but something in his expression came close. "Yes," he said. "That is very human." He turned and walked toward the door, followed by the other officials. At the threshold, he paused and looked back. "Rest now. Park doing, heal. And when you are ready, there is a galaxy waiting to meet the species that refuses to stay down." The door closed behind them. Yuna sat on the edge of the bed and took Do-hyun's bandaged hand in hers. "We did it," she said softly. "We really did it." "No," Do-hyun said. "Humanity did it. Millions of years of refusing to quit. Millions of years of standing back up. I was just the one who happened to be here when it mattered." Outside the window, the stars continued to shine. The universe continued to spin. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the word was spreading. The humans had arrived, and they did not know how to stop.